Assalamu alaikum, my beautiful people. Welcome back to Getting to the Human's Mind. Wow, I almost forgot my podcast name from how distant I have been. Great moment of realization, you guys. Yes, I have been in a podcast slump, or I'd like to refer to it as a podcast slump. But it's not that I've been losing interest or have lost interest from my podcast. It's just that I'd like to think of it as my podcast. Okay, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys. My podcast is built upon life experiences and lessons, advices, from an Islamic perspective and whatnot. And the previous phase, or the recent phase of my life, that was during summer, I was going through the experiences. I was going through the the part where I was discovering new things, meeting new people, getting advices from people. And I think that now that I kind of settled down, that I am able to share these experiences. I'm able to kind of interpret what happened recently and kind of provide this content where I give out the advices that I've been told. Because here's the thing, when I did not record for as long as I can probably remember, this actually turned a negative, this turned into a negative thing on me, because it has, my podcast, I take it seriously. Believe it or not, I do take it seriously. It's one of accomplishments and goals that I want to be consistent about. I do want to achieve. Because when I was going through that hiatus, I kind of kept on beating myself up for the fact that I wasn't, being active. I wasn't being consistent. I wasn't. And it took that negative direction onto me. But the thing is, later on, when I kind of it was also a part of the journey where I was interpreting things. Later, fast forward to now, when I kind of look at it, it was a part of Allah's plan to this journey of my podcast, is that revealing these experiences for me to discover and to kind of unravel, is to later come on here and share it with you guys. Before you think that, oh, is she here to tell us her excuse, for being absent or disappearing? No, I'm not here to reason with you guys. It's just a part of today's topic, which is what's meant for you will find here. And before I start onto this topic, I wanted to share something with you guys that probably most of you have stumbled upon, and probably most of you know. But as I was today reading Surah Al-Kahf, I noticed this thing, and I would like to interpret onto something and emphasize, an idea. So basically, the story of Musa alayhi salam and his teacher, I believe his name is Al-Khidr, where Musa kind of goes onto this journey where he's told to visit Al-Khidr in order to be humbled upon the idea that he has a vast majority of knowledge and that he knows everything. Later on, he kind of stumbles upon, several incidents where the first incident, he rides onto a boat or a ship with Al-Khidr, and Al-Khidr scattles the boat, and Musa alayhi salam, he questions Al-Khidr for his action. He goes why are you scattling the boat? Do you want to drown them? And Khidr tells him that eventually, when he explains his actions to Musa after several times telling him that you should be patient with me, you shouldn't question me. But the first reasoning is that there was a meaning behind it, that he scattered the boat for the purpose of, the king coming after the poor people and taking their ships, since they were in good shape, they were in good quality. So Al-Khidr wanted to scatter their boat, so it would seem like there's a hole in it and there's no use of it. So the king will just, leave it alone, and then later they can figure it out. They can fix the boat and they will have it for themselves. Another incident is that when they were walking by, and Al-Khidr, I think he kills this teenage boy, and Musa alayhi salam questions why did you just randomly kill a boy? You just took away a soul, you don't have the right to do that. And later on, Al-Khidr tells him that this boy was inobedient, mistreating his parents, and so Allah wanted to kind of provide his parents with a better son. The last incident was that they got into this village, and they were tired, and they wanted, I think, food or something to drink, and the villagers did not provide them with anything, no kindness, nothing to offer. And so Al-Khidr noticed this wall that was about to fall, and out of kindness, or there is a reason behind it, but out of kindness to what it seemed, he fixed the wall, or he kind of rebuilt it. So Musa questioned him why are you providing them, or why are you offering them kindness when they did not offer us anything? So then Khidr explains and tells him that this wall actually is for two boys who I think is their dad passed away and they left the gold under. So if this wall were to break and fall down, the gold or the money would be exposed and people would take it. So eventually, Musa alayhi salam, kind of realizes that regardless of the knowledge that you have, you're not really capable of anticipating things that will happen eventually in life. And this story does have a different, it has many interpretations to it, but one of the interpretations that I want to grasp onto or take is that when it comes to setting goals in life, achieving goals, we subconsciously end up being slaves to our goals in a sense that we anticipate the fact that if we follow a certain path, we're confident that we can possibly achieve this goal. But I hate to break it to you, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. And then later, when we experience a setback, when there is a failure, when there is a downfall, where we don't achieve this certain goal, we get into this loop where we feel negative, where we experience negative emotions, where we feel like we're not capable of succeeding, and where we feel like we don't have a purpose in life for achieving this certain goal. But the thing is, we keep fostering this ideology of that if you don't succeed in doing, for instance, goal A or even goal B, that means you're not successful. You don't have a purpose in life. And the thing is, I hate to rain on your parade, but this is not how trying to achieve your goals and trying to achieve, good thing that you're working your best. But the thing is, unfortunately, we keep on capitalizing this concept, and it has been going on for generations. But this is the true definition of making your own destiny. And this is very ironic if you were to believe that, because as Muslims, your destiny and your goals and your everything that you do pretty much in life has been written down and said 100 million years ago, before you even existed. So this is what I'm trying to say. If you were not meant to succeed in such a goal, it just wasn't meant for you. It's not, maybe it wasn't coherent for you, maybe it wasn't meant to reach you. Because as a hadith has been narrated by Imam Ali, is that ما أصابك لم يكن يخطئك وما أخطأك لم يكن يصيبك. What's meant for you will never miss you, and what missed you was never meant for you. So if this goal was genuinely truly meant for you, it would have not missed you. But if it has missed you, but if this goal has missed you, that means it wasn't meant for you. And this actually does not apply only on goals. It also applies on people around you, on friendships, on family. If you were meant to be with this person, and you tried everything to be with them, and for instance to, let's take friends for example, if you tried to befriend them, if you tried to click with them, but things did not work out, that means they weren't meant to be friends with you, And always think of it as, if something did not reach you, there's always a reason behind it. There is always, everything in life that happens, Allah always has plans for us ready, but we just don't have the full knowledge of it. We don't have the ability to anticipate. Before you think that, so basically you're trying to say is you shouldn't set goals, you shouldn't work in order to achieve them. No, that would be very ironic, because just the episode before I was talking about how to fulfill your goals. But what I'm trying to say is you're not responsible for your goals not working out. This is not something that's within your hands. What you're responsible of is, and I honestly believe that, and wholeheartedly, is that you're responsible to how you react, right? And I read this thing in a book that says that the desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience, and paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is itself a positive experience. So basically, here's the thing: you need to question yourself first. Why do I want to achieve this goal? And it's always this idea of wanting to chase a mirage of happiness, being happy and being satisfied. It's not about happiness and satisfaction here. But the thing is, when you desire such positive experience, and that's all you want, this is itself a negative experience, because it turns on to you when you don't experience them. You kind of feel like you let yourself down. However, when you when you experience such thing, but you accept those negative experiences, this itself is a positive experience. Because here's the thing: your journey to achieve your goal is itself a positive experience, is itself a lesson, is itself a goal. Because throughout the journey, Allah wanted to teach you a few things. You definitely have learned a few skills, habits, and routines, or maybe even met few people on the way. This itself is a goal. However, the goal itself, if it wasn't meant to reach you, if it wasn't meant for you, if it wasn't meant to be succeeded, that means there has been a harm, behind it. We definitely did not see coming. So it's all about protection here as well, that, Allah's trying to protect you. Allah knows better than you. So you should have this mindset of going with the flow and letting things in Allah's hands, because, when you do so, it just kind of settles you down, and it kind of you're capable of letting go of the stress and the anxiety that you're holding on to, because it's just it's a normal feeling and consequences when you're not capable of achieving those things. To better explain the concept to put out there, Alan Watts is a philosopher, and he kind of came up with this law called the backwards law, which is the idea that the more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become, as pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. Basically, what's meant is that the more you're desperately in need of achieving a certain thing, whether it's a goal, as I said, or it also applies on to surrounding yourself with certain people, the more you're gonna experience negative emotion, because you're gonna feel kind of had this expectations and you've suddenly been let down, regardless of the efforts and the hard work that you've been putting in, that felt like it went to vain, right? But in actuality, something better was written for you that you simply weren't aware of. Let me give you an example of my own. I, for instance, during high school, college, the period of time where we're like, trying to decide our major, like literally the period of time where we're like deciding our future, and everything feels so stressful and anxious, and the panic is kind of going on around. So I, for the longest time, I've wanted to major in something related to the medical field, not necessarily the medical field, like something that goes around it, like whether it was biotechnology, psychology, whether it was in the medical field, even dentistry and whatnot. And my journey in high school was for that purpose. One of my strongest subjects were biology. But then in high school, my dad, he came and he offered, really suggested that I would take math AS level. And I obviously refused at first. I was like, why would I take math? I don't want to major into something related to math or like engineering. It's not something that I'm like, I don't see myself working in that field and whatnot. And I just completely like refused the idea. But then later on, I kind of like accepted it because my dad, he knew more than me, and I kind of like trusted him in that because, I was still like how old was I? I don't remember actually. Was I 16, 15, 16, probably 17, 18, 17, yes. 17, I have no clue. Anyways, so 17, right? So during that time, I had like, as much as the research I was doing, I didn't really have much knowledge of where I was heading to. So I took a math AS level, regardless of the suffering that I went through and the, literally horrible experience I went through with like math A level. Like I don't even want to like think about it. But ironically enough, I did end up majoring in architecture engineering, which was like plan Z for me. And I did a matter of fact, like hate it in the first year. Like I just couldn't stand it at all. But eventually onto my second year and third year, I did discover that this is something. And it was actually with the help of my mom, convincing me and like telling me that, this is going to be better for you. She knew obviously what was better for me. So eventually I did, discover or like come to realize that this is what I was meant for. Like this is the major that I've been looking for. This is the major that I've always wanted to express myself in and express my ideas and be innovative. And as much as I thought that, the other majors were more suitable to me, but in reality they weren't, because I was looking at a side, but there was another side to it that was hidden to me that I did not, come to discover or realize it after like I majored in it. And I kind of started seeing my friends, what they're studying and what they're working in. And I was like, oh my God, I do not see myself doing that. Like I do not see myself like standing in a clinic for like a whole hour or something. Like it was just not meant for me. Like I see myself, inshallah, like being an architect and like working, like the whole idea of the stories, that what I'm trying to tell you is that I was following a journey and I was following a path that I was directed onto a different goal that I eventually did not succeed, but I succeeded a different goal, So no, that path was not useless. No, that path was not like, it didn't go into vain, or like it didn't have like a meaning to it. No, I learned a lot of things. I discovered new things, and it did teach me a lot, Whatever goal you're trying to reach at the moment, obviously do your best, because the thing is, doing your best at the moment is different than doing your best tomorrow, and it's different than doing your best next week. So as long as you're doing your best in order to achieve that goal is all that matters. Whether the goal is being achieved or not, this is not within your capability. It's not within your hands. What's within your hands is how you react to the certain goal not being succeeded, right? So yeah, that pretty much concludes today's episode. I know I kind of turned around onto like a loop and in order to like get the point, but not like an easy concept to bring onto the table, because many of us have a different, I personally for the longest time, like I would beat myself up and I would feel these negative emotions when I don't achieve certain thing. But then I later came to like discover and realize that that was a part of the journey, and alhamdulillah, Allah, has written better things to me. And that's also one of the things that you have to keep in mind, that along this journey of not succeeding, your certain goals, you have to have a strong trust in Allah and a strong faith so you can keep going on. Because if you don't have iman, if your faith isn't strong enough, you're gonna keep letting yourself down every time you try to succeed something, and you're gonna view it very negatively, and it's gonna have this turn on you, and it's gonna have this negative turn on you that is gonna let you down for most of your life. So it's good that when you experience negative situations happening in your life, it's good to view them as, it's good to like take a step back and reason them, like be like, whether you know the reason or not, just know that Allah has a different plan for you. Allah has a different direction for you that is meant for you. And I'm pretty sure this will like let down the stress and all that. So I hope that you've learned something out of this. I hope this like kind of like diverted your mindset onto like a more optimistic view and like a better approach. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and see y'all in the next episode. Goodbye.